Hello, today we will study how to summarize an article. So, to understand how to summarize an article, you still need to know how an article is built. And when you study many articles, you may see that most of them are built the same way. First, you say why you are writing this article, which means that you will talk about the problem or the issues that you try to solve. Second, you will propose your answer, which is your thesis or your hypothesis. Third, we'll say which method you will use to solve your problem or to answer to this problem. Most part of the method are empirical, which means based on an investigation on the field, but sometimes you will find some theoretical articles only, or some are a mix of theoretical and empirical research. Now, to make the distinction between empirical and theoretical and empirical, you may consider that in each article you're going to have a big theoretical part. However, are they crossing different theories to answer the questions? Yes or no? If that is the case, if they are crossing many theories, then it may be considered a theoretical and empirical article, or theoretical only, of course. Fourth part, the author presents the results, and then the author is going to give an interpretation of the results. Sometimes he does it at the same time as he presents the results, but most part of the time the interpretation is separate. And in the interpretation you're going to find the limits and the perspective which is put behind those results. So each part of the article should appear in your abstract. Okay, each part. What is the problem? What thesis, what answer does the author give? Which method did he employ? To characterize the method, you may want to talk about quantitative or qualitative study. How many questionnaires? How could you qualify the sample? Was it like 50% men, 50% women? How many students? How many workers, etc., etc. Then you want to talk about the results and their interpretation, meaning the interpretation that the author gives of his own results. Okay, that is the first part of your work. So before I talk about the second part of your work, you also need to know that you will find most part of these elements in the abstract that the author will provide, at least most part of the time, and you will find also most part of these elements in the introduction and the conclusion of the article. In the introduction, normally the author focuses more on the problem and the thesis, and eventually provides the outline of the method. In the conclusion, the author provides usually the thesis, the results, and their interpretations. Now, second part of your work, I want you to discuss the interpretation and the conclusion of the author, which means that you're going to have to think critically about the article, bring some sociological perspective, and propose some managerial issues. So, in order to do this, you need to consider what the author say and wonder, okay, now if I'm a manager, or if I'm a manager tomorrow, how can this article help me? Practically, how can this help me? Okay. When I talk about thinking critically, it doesn't mean, oh, I think that the article is not good because of this, or the article is good because of that. Mostly it means that the author gives you a point of view. Maybe you could complement this analysis by another point of view. So maybe you can think about sociological perspectives, maybe. The most important in your discussion is to focus on the managerial issues. So how can this article can help you to be a better manager? Okay. We will see that this sixth part of the work is very important, and I give you a lot of points for this part, so spend some time when you do it. Thank you for your attention. That's all for now.